What are your thoughts on removing "In God We Trust" from American money? I'd be more interested in elected officials doing their jobs. At a time like this, e pluribus unum seems more relevant and needed. Replace it with Wu-Tang Forever. Yeah, let's replace it with Better Spend Me Now, I'll be worth 9% less in a year. I would support removing it, but that is honestly the least of our concerns right now. It was an anti-communist thing from the 50s. This is Reddit, it's pretty obvious the answer you're gonna get. It's not a hill I'd be willing to die on to remove it. I'd rather have codified abortion, or term limits for SCOTUS, or pretty much anything else. I'd prefer they remove the God from political policies first. Separation of church and state are a thing for a reason. Edit, I have never received this many upvotes or an award or anything like this, so thank you all, and I'm really trying to answer the replies, I just wasn't expecting this to blow up. Edit 2, I am now at 1k karma, I'm going to go eat a celebratory granola bar. It shouldn't be there in the first place. What's your most shameful NSFW moment? When I was 17 or something, I was watching porn in the middle of the night. After I did my deed, I felt a slight pain in my balls, like someone flicked their finger on them. The pain increased to the point that I had to walk it out. After some minutes I began screaming from the pain when my parents came to my room. Don't worry, I wasn't naked, seeing me in pain on the floor. At that moment I thought I did something wrong while masturbating, but was too ashamed to tell them. My dad rushed me to the emergency room, where I was rushed in and my pants were removed. Laying their dick out, they gave me a nose spray which halted some of the pain. The doctor then started fondling my balls while the nurse stood next to me reminding me to breathe because the nose spray stopped the automatic breathing, if that makes sense. All the time my dad is standing there looking, and the only thing I could think at that moment was, oh no, do they think my dick is small? After that the doctors brought me to another room while my dad was in another room. While going through the halls I told the doctor I probably know the cause and explained that I was masturbating. I don't remember the doctor's response, but I felt truly ashamed, like I was the only person doing such a thing. Later the doctor told me I had testicular torsion, which is caused by the balls not being attached to the sac, so I'm living in fear of it happening again to this day. When I was around 10-11 years old, my dad got my brother and I a computer to use. He set it up in the den and pretty much allowed us free unsupervised access to it. He had gone out with his friends one night, and my brother, one of his friends, and myself were on the internet just typing in random things and adding .com to it. Now back in the early 2000s it didn't take long for us to stumble upon porn. Which led us to clicking on more and more porn links because we were all like, holy shit, there's naked women on here. Eventually we bricked the computer and it blue screened on us. Instead of turning it off / unplugging the computer / turning off the monitor, we just left it and went to bed. My dad got home and saw the blue screen. Did the Control, Alt, Delete trick to pull up the task manager. Saw that we had porn pulled up on the web browser. At this point he makes us all come out into the den. Sits us on the couch and tries to make us confess to why the computer was blue screened. We of course shrugged and acted like we had no clue. He then turned the monitor on and went through the internet history. We all had to sit there while my dad clicked through some of the most heinous debased shit I've ever seen in my life. The whole time he was just reading out the history, and then he'd say something like, Jesus fucking Christ, what the hell is wrong with you all? Yeah, that computer did not last very long. In the 90s / early 2000s we bought a pub and moved into it. It had a big screen downstairs and we lived above, but Sky Sports was so expensive for the business account we basically hooked the giant screen to our box upstairs, so whenever the sport was on it would show on the screen downstairs, so we couldn't watch TV upstairs except what was being shown on the big screen when this was happening. End number X200B. Anyway, one Sunday evening around 10 p.m. after the sport, bearing in mind the sport finished at 6 p.m., I was freely browsing through channels because the giant screen has been wound up into the ceiling and my 14-year-old self came across some softcore porn. Curious, I started watching it. End number X200B. Suddenly there was a big buzz from the phone that connected to downstairs. I answer it. It's my mum with laughing in the background. What are you watching? I was like, air. I was just flicking through channels. Well, you've stayed on that one for a while, haven't you? End number X200B. I forgot about the small TV in the bar area. It was still on and was showing the entire pub what my horny 14-year-old ass was watching. I was mortified. Luckily my mum never brought it up again, and neither did any of the customers, thankfully. When I was about 10, My parents were out, so I looked up some porn on the family computer, mistake number 1, then I kept hearing noises and thought someone was in the house, so I ran to my room and called my dad, leaving the computer on, mistake number 2, my dad rushed home and went around the house looking for an intruder, no one was there, it was just my next door neighbors, we have a semi-detached house, then obviously saw what I was looking at on the computer and asked me about it. I told him. The intruder must have broken in and searched it up, sad face. When I was around 13y/0, my brother walked into me trying to suck my own dick. Upside down. Butt in the air, hunched over. When I was 12, my younger sister walked in on me playing fondle the dongle. I told her I couldn't pee and was trying to force/pump it out. She told my mom out of worry. Said I needed a doctor to help me pee. When mom confronted me about what my sister was saying, I then had to explain it to her. When I was with my ex, we did some long distance for a while. While I am not about sending nudes, after not seeing each other for a long time you kinda get an urge to see the other person naked. So, nudes were exchanged. She was mostly interested in close-ups of my erect penis, so I sent those. Upon returning home I discovered that she had set a picture of my erect penis as my profile picture in her phone. Meaning that if I'd call her, my penis would be presented on the screen in all its glory. I told her this was a very stupid idea. What if I'd call and her phone was laying around somewhere? She said she never had her phone laying around so no one would see. I didn't think much of it. Few weeks later we were having dinner with her parents and she was talking about getting a new phone. Her father, with a straight face and in between 2 bites of his food, remarked, "Gee, if you get this new phone, does that mean you'll install a different picture for when he calls you?" I died 1,000 deaths. In middle school my friend got her boobs and she wanted me to touch them. We probably spent 30 minutes every day before school groping each other in the back of the library until the librarian caught us and we were suspended. I wish I could say I enjoyed it, but going to first period with a raging boner was not ideal every day. My HSGF and I were having sex in the sideways laying down cuddling position. Mom walked in to show me a new Christmas decoration. To her it looked like we were just cuddling, but she sat on the bed inches away from me actively inside her and proceeded to talk about the decoration for like 10 minutes. I wonder if she knew. They never cared much about that stuff, so I think she was just oblivious. I tried to make a dildo out of a hot glue gun. Thought no one was home. I got full on railed by my partner and I was really loud. Turns out my mum was home. Deleted. Oh God, when I was like 13, my mother walked in on me using her vibrator. The look on her face went from incomprehension to shock to utter disgust over the span of a second or two. She stayed calm and explained how it wasn't appropriate or sanitary for me to do that, but I just remember how unsmiling and tense she was, totally unlike I'd ever seen her. Decades ago, but still cringe so much recalling it. I had started taking antidepressants when I was around 20 and didn't take delayed ejaculation as a side effect seriously. It was like blowing up a balloon to infinity and it never pops, or shaking a soda that doesn't explode after being opened. That being said, after masturbating myself started taking more than 10 minutes I stopped. Around this time I also started dating someone with a high libido and she was okay with me not being able to finish but was into a lot. One of those things was wanting me to stroke myself on her. Let me tell you the awkwardness that goes from stroking yourself in front of a smiling girl for half an hour. That smile turns into an bored look as we both sink into what we're doing, kink unlocked. When she gave a defeated "Are you close?" the floodgates opened, and after being delayed for near an hour there was a lot. Even worse, I definitely made a guttural sound of mostly air as my knees almost gave out while it happened. Yes, so I'm on a different antidepressant now. I was once extremely drunk and staying in a very expensive hotel in Hollywood. I went to bed, as I should. I woke up in the middle of the night and had to pee. I walked through the bathroom door and closed it behind me. I then realized that that wasn't the bathroom door, but rather the room door. I was locked out of my room in a fancy hotel, drunk off my ass, wearing only my underwear. I went to the elevator lobby where there was a phone and called the front desk and explained my situation. They said they would send someone up. I realized I couldn't wait and continued searching for a place to pee and found a janitor closet with a rolling mop bucket in it. I took a giant piss in the mop bucket and then walked back to my room door, where a bellhop who really didn't want to look me in the eye let me back into my room. I'm very sorry, Mondrian Hotel. What's something you can bring up right now to unlock some childhood nostalgia for the rest of us? That feeling when you are going as high as you can go on the swings. Power? Freedom? Hard to describe. Conjunction junction. That sound of a door opening and shutting on AIM when your friend logs on. Getting up in the morning on a day it snowed to watch the list of closed schools across the bottom of the news/weather channel hoping your school was closed. When you'd watch a VHS and it would say, "And now your feature presentation." An eraser that looks and smells like a very fake strawberry. Chinese finger traps. Flintstones push pop ice creams. Waking up super early on Saturday morning before the rest of the family to watch cartoons. Watching The Price is Right when you were sick at home. Hot Wheels. Nick 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 N.A. Nick 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 Nickelodeon. You have died of dysentery. The Land Before Time. Those candy necklaces.